Mamas, today's guest just sees me through her books and her stories that blend humor and heart, centering on women, often in their 30s or 40s, rediscovering purpose and passion for themselves, which is why I love every single book that I have read of my guest today. And I first discovered her through an arc of It's a Love Story that I got through NetGalley. Then I had to dive back through all the books. Nora Goes Off Script. Then I was just hooked. And when I got the arc for Dolly All the Time that comes out at the end of May, I was so excited and I read it. I actually just read it too, and it is my favorite yet. So Annabel Monaghan is our guest today, and she is a New York Times bestselling author. But before writing adult fiction, she also wrote YA novels, a collection of essays, and she spent years on the writing faculty at Sarah Lawrence College. She hosts her own author series, Friends with Words, and even has an MBA in finance. She's a super mom to three boys and lives in Florida and Connecticut with her family. So welcome, Annabelle.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. I want to edit your intro. Can we start there? I am a mom to three boys. I have not for one day been a super mom. I am just a regular old mom. But thank you. Thank
No,
you for having me.
no. I'm like, no, because every mom is a super mom. I truly believe that. But
No, it's
we
true.
won't.
I mean, it takes superhuman strength and patience to get through the thing that I have not gotten through to the end of it yet. I don't think there is. Um, but we are just all just like failing and trying and getting up again and loving with our
Yeah,
biggest hearts and doing our best.
yeah. I'm already going on a tangent here, but I talk to so
Let's
many
go.
friends. Yeah, I talk to so many friends who are at-home moms and say, "Oh, I'm just a mom," and I have to stop them and say, "No, no, you're not just a mom. Like, there's no such thing as just a mom." So,
No.
super mom it is.
Okay. All right. I'll take the crown.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm also a boy mom. So I think when I am reading your stories and I see the momness, and I'm like getting teary just thinking of these things too. But I love the dynamics. I love the dynamics, and we'll get all into it. But before we dive into all your books, I wanted to have people know a little bit more about you as the author. And I shared a little bit. There are so many lives that you have lived already, and I'd love to know more about them. So, can you share your journey of how you came to where you are?
I know I'm like 600 years old. I think that's
I
why
love it.
my story is so long. It is the most absurd how I became an author story that you'll ever hear. Um, but I also think it just goes to show you like life doesn't happen in a straight line. So if you get off the track you thought you wanted to be on, just go with it. So I wanted to be a writer, like from when I was a little kid. That was really the only thing that I thought I like wanted to do, and that I like showed any, you know, talent for. I was a good English student in high school. I chose my university because it had a good English program. I went there. I took all the writing classes that they offered, and when I was a senior in college, all of my friends were moving to New York City with jobs. And I thought, oh, perfect. I'll move to New York City and be a writer because I did not know about money. So I was like, oh, wait, do I not have a trust fund? Like, how am I? Anyways, that was so the dream was dashed. And I ended up taking a Wall Street job. And my plan was then that I was going to work during the day and then write at night. That was going to be so. But obviously, you get a Wall Street job, you work during the day, and then you work at night. So I did that for 2 years and basically gave up on writing because it's a ridiculous, it's like a childhood dream. And I decided to go to business school, and I went to the University of Pennsylvania. I got an MBA in finance. I mean, have you ever been so off track? I met my husband, which was a great thing. And then we moved back to New York. I was an investment banker, terrible at my job, like literally terrible. And I got pregnant, and I was like, oh, I'm out. Like I just basically was like, I hate my job so much. Like I think I'm going to just go be pregnant. So I was at home with three kids for it's still, I mean, I guess I'm still at home. Um, and I wrote my first young adult book when I was 37. Nobody really read those books. Like they were published. People liked them, but not very many people read them. And I started writing a column for my local paper that was weirdly more successful than my books. Like it kind of took off, and I had people on social media, and it was picked up by the Huffington Post and the Week, and it was more of a thing. And it was basically like ha-has for moms, just relatable essays.
I want to go read them.
I thank you. That book is called "Does This Volvo Make My Butt Look Big?" Which, haha. Anyway, so I did that for 10 years, and I was teaching writing, but I also was not writing my own stuff. And COVID happened, the world got really quiet, and I sat down and wrote Nora Goes Off script. And the only thing that's really interesting about that is I was 50. So I wrote the first thing that anybody ever really liked when I was 50 years old after trying to do this for 45 years. So that's my story.
I love that story. I love that story. And I think when I saw your MBA of finance, I was like, oh, I'm a finance person by day. And I never thought I would go into finance. So I think I have a similar meandering journey of finding where I am. And then COVID, I started a YouTube channel because we were at home, and why not do something and throw everything else on top of it, right?
Yeah.
And now I get to talk to lovely authors like you and people that I love reaching out to. So it's just
Yeah,
been a fun.
hideous things. Oh, things are always two things.
Mhm.
And COVID, that time, and the million people who died, and I mean, it was horrible. Mental health wise, it was
Yeah.
obviously. I don't need to explain that. Um, but the quieting of the world and the opening of our time is something that I hope we're going to take as a lesson into the next stage, because I've just gotten really busy all of a sudden again.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
and the
Everything. Yeah.
bliss of that silence and the space you had to start something different. I mean, it was interesting.
Yeah. It was definitely a very hard time, but so many great things came out of it for our family. We call it like our silver linings of this crazy period of time, right? Where we were working from home, schooling from home, all the things from home. We couldn't see people, but I love that there are good things that came out of it also, that we can
Yeah.
take that with us. So I know you wrote YA, and I'm just going to touch on that really quick. You said not very many people read it, but as I was doing my research, I was like, okay, who is Annabel? What is her life? Her author journey. It is. Can you just tell us a little bit? Because we were just having a conversation with my kids about, okay, even if you're not a pro athlete someday, there are mathletes. And then when I saw that it is a math genius, right, as the main character, I was like, oh, this is so fun. And my kid and I, my older one and I, talked about reading it together because I'm trying to do a book with my kid every month. So,
Oh,
can you tell
that's
us
so
a little about
great.
it?
Oh, I love that so much. Um, Especially with boys, I find it so nice to read a book with them, because I don't have any daughters, but I just imagine we would have more things naturally to talk about. I don't actually know, but I always read with my kids, because then we could be like Percy Jackson, like we had something. So those books are I'm going to say this with a straight face. They are the story of a teenage math genius who fights crime with the FBI. That's what they are.
I love it.
And Digit is a math genius. She's like a little like quirky. She's super quirky, and doesn't really fit in. And she goes on this journey working with the FBI to catch these eco terrorists. And there's lots of codes. There's lots of math. I really love math,
Yeah.
and I am not great at math. I am not a math genius, but that does not stop me from being like, wow, that's so cool the way that works.
Okay, that brings me to a question. Do you like writing characters that are more like you, or do you really like the ones that are not like you at all and you kind of imagine these other people? Maybe you take inspiration from other people around you. Do you have a preference for who you write?
Um, I think if you asked me that a couple of years ago, I would have had a different answer.
Mm.
It is easy to write characters that are more like you, but you can't
Mhm.
keep writing the same character, right? Like I'm just one person, so you don't want to keep reading about me falling in love. That's terrible. Um, what I found really interesting when I wrote It's a Love Story, Jane Jackson is the most unhinged character that I've ever written. And many times while I was writing that book, and I was like, the smile on my face. I mean, I look like a crazy person. I was so enjoying it so much. And I kept saying to my editor, like, is this too much? Like, am I going too far? Because she's so, I mean, she eats candy under her desk. She's like, she flies off the handle. She like rehearses what she's going to say and then says exactly the wrong thing. Um, I loved getting out of my head in that way and writing because I am so hinged,
Mhm.
right? Like I was raised to behave and I do not like lose my temper. It was really fun to just let loose like that.
Oh, I love this is going to be such a fun conversation as we talk about all things Dolly too. um, I'm just going to say, first of all, thank you for writing midlife women and moms, especially because I love my share of the teen, maybe like early 20s, romanticy folks and female main characters, but just seeing moms and the real struggles and all the life things is such a healing thing for our souls. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
Yeah.
I I love all those books. I
Mhm.
love all the books about the women in their 20s finding their way and all of that. I think that I gravitate towards writing those older characters, number one, because I'm older, but also because I really like the messiness. You know, anyone, like if you're looking to write a novel, anyone will say just you got to throw a lot of obstacles at your main character. There's no obstacle greater than children. Like if you have children and a mortgage and, a leaky roof, it is a barrier to you falling in love in an easy and casual way. It like adds, the stakes are always higher because there are more hearts to break. And things that you actually, I kind of like the way mothers will prioritize their children over their love life. It's just it's a different stage of life. And I like the messiness of it.
I saw myself in so many of these characters, and I'm amazed at how you write like the main characters, but the side characters that you come to just absolutely adore. So how do you do the character development of your cast people?
So I think I should say this. I write my books a lot of times. So I am not, I don't know who writes their book just once and then sends it off. I don't know who that person is, but I kind of want to know. I write it and my first draft will be just really the love story. And and then there's some other people around. They're like Barbie and Ken, just stick figures hanging around. And as the drafts go, I start to understand who my main character is and who she needs to have around her, and who is like in Dolly. Dolly really like keeps it together, and she needs to have a friend who is trying to pry her open to cut loose, like a looser person. So they kind of they evolve over drafts and drafts and drafts, and I never know the side characters before like the third draft of a book.
And do they just speak to you? You just kind of go in and the characters speak to you? Is that, I don't know if that's a foo-foo way of saying it, but
Sometimes,
Mhm.
sometimes they walk in with their personalities,
Mhm.
where I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Okay, let's go. Sometimes they walk in with a name. Sometimes it really takes me a long time to figure out who they are and why they matter. Like you can't just have people in a book. We don't need extras, right? If they're not adding something or supporting the character in some way, it's a waste of everybody's time.
Okay, we're gonna get into Dolly. Can you just give a quick synopsis, like what people can expect from the story, for those that have not heard of it or have not read it yet?
Sure. We are in Rhode Island, and a woman named Dolly Brick returns home to the town, by the way, is Whitfield, Rhode Island, but it's basically Newport, where it's like next to Newport. She returns to Whitfield to check on her father and her disabled brother. brings her son with her. She is a single mom with a full-time job and three side hustles, and she is basically everybody's emergency contact. And she finds herself back home, and working at now a fourth side hustle is a part-time job at her dad's fish store. And she finds herself in a fake dating situation with Stuart Whitfield, who is the also very hardworking heir to a great fortune. Eldest son, she's the eldest daughter. They basically have all the same issues.
Oh, okay. So as a working mom, I so many things, so many things. We're not hitting the spoilers yet, people, but if you have not read it yet and you don't want to find out anything, you might want to pause and come back because we don't want to spoil it for you. So that is my spoiler alert for everyone. Okay. So as a working mom, there are so many things, like every single character. I didn't see myself as like I am 100% Dolly, but every single person, right? There is something that I am seeing. And as a boy mom, I am seeing something as I see the dynamic with Gus and Christopher. And actually, I'm going to pause because I also saw your note at the end that Christopher was inspired by your brother. And
Yep.
so I'm sorry for that. I'm getting teary.
Hey,
You were in the corporate world too, and it almost like not almost burnt you out, it burnt you out, right? Um, how much of that kind of factors in to the story and the inspiration for it?
my background having a job in an office, uh, probably not that much. I think it's more of being a mother
Mhm.
and having like the responsibility for the child and having the responsibility. I was raised by a single mother also.
Mhm.
So I saw a lot of this starts for me at home because I've been married the whole time I was raising children. So I had a partner. But being the person who is, responsible for the money, who is responsible for the child, and then who is also responsible for the extended family, it more came from that. And I really believe there's this person in every family who's the one, you're like, what are we doing for Thanksgiving? And they're
Yeah.
like, I'll cook, I'll do it. Oh,
Yeah.
who's taking grandma to the, oh, I'll do it.
I'm
That
not the
person,
eldest, but that is me.
well, you know what? It's not always the eldest daughter.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But it's just at that, and not so much for me. I'm the baby, and I am not like the eldest daughter in my family. I do some stuff, but not all. But just seeing my generation and seeing what so many women have gone through, just trying to make it all work, and the hustle that people do to make ends meet
Yeah.
while they've got daycare going. I mean, it's really extraordinary to watch what people pull off.
They say money doesn't buy happiness, right? But the fact that you don't have money, that is like a huge, that burden is huge. And so I love that you have that in there that she is doing all of these things. And when she does finally have some money, she doesn't spend it on herself, right? Because I'm, and I resonated with that so much. Like I have worked my whole adult life, right? And so I can afford some of these things for myself, but am I going to question that little splurgy thing that I get for myself all the time? All the time.
Well, here's a question for you, Amy,
Hmm.
because I think about this a lot. Would you rather have the money?
Hmm.
So, like for me, I would, in a lot of times in my life, like I worked really hard to get money, and I know how hard it was to get the money. And so then now I have the money.
Hmm.
And if I buy the thing, I don't have the money
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
So sometimes the reward is just like, oh, look, I have the money. I didn't need the blouse. I have the money. And you don't want to part with
Yeah.
it. It's not entirely healthy.
It's, oh, I totally get it. So this is silly, but I got myself a one of those Dyson Airwrap things,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is ridiculously expensive. And I went, I'm like, do I really need it? And then I started using it. And I went, oh, I see why people love it. And, I was reasoning in my head of, oh, but, my mom said buy something. And it was kind of like a Christmas thing. And so I spent this money and I'm cobbling it together. Like, no, it's okay. I can spend money on myself. I'm allowed
Yeah,
to
you
do good
can.
things for myself.
Yeah, you can. Because
Yeah.
you're like, it's not going to do you any good to die with it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
by the way, just off topic, it was really worth it?
I do really like it. I still have this like, oh, is it really worth that? But I do really like it.
Yeah. Okay. This is what money's for. Good for you.
And if someone had given that to me, my husband and I, we share our bank account, right? So if he had bought it for me, I wouldn't, maybe I still have some heartache about it. But the fact that Stuart, and I'm totally spoiler alert, right? At the end, there's this lavish, lavish gift that is such a heartfelt, but also something that if it were given to me, like, oh my gosh, I can't take it. It's so expensive. It's so big. It's so, this and that. But the people, when we are the ones always taking care of others, to be seen, to be taken care of, to be given some of these things that we wouldn't get ourselves are just the best, right? The best.
Yeah. And I mean, probably as a reader, but also in real life, those are the people you want to give something to.
Yeah.
The people who aren't always asking, the people who are just like so happy for what they have. Um, and that was something I really loved about Dolly. And I know that sounds weird, but when I'm writing a book, I feel like she's a person that I'm getting to know. I really loved how much she appreciated everything she had,
Mm,
and like she made do.
yeah.
She sleeps out on the sleeping porch. It's not ideal, but she can keep her clothes upstairs, and she can, it's just it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. She is the glue, right? For so many people, her whole family, often sacrificing herself to do what she needs for others. And there is this martyrdom that is there also. And the dynamic with her sister, where she's always been the person that takes care of things so that her sister could have a childhood. So her brother could be taken care of, her dad can be taken care of when he was falling apart. And throughout the book, it is this like, it's okay to voice your wants, it's okay to voice like where you need help. Can you share a little more about that? Because I think I have a million stories of where I've just said, I'm just going to do it. But then there's some resentment there, whether it's with my husband of like, oh, why didn't you take care of this? Or why didn't you think of this? Or kids like, why don't you just pick up your stuff? Or colleagues, or, the stories
Right.
are endless of the
Right.
things where we don't speak up. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I could share. I could. How much time do you have? Um, I think it's a thing. I think it's a women's thing. I don't know 100% if that's true. But I think that if you are super capable and your identity is in how capable you are, and that was your role in your family, your your identity is tied up in I can do it. Um, but the I can do it person also has the dark side of that is you should have known I needed help.
Mhm.
People should know. How could I possibly do? And you're just spending all this time being so competent and effective, and you're not saying like, "Hey, could you? I can't. Can you? We need to pitch in." Um, and it's almost like an ego thing. It's not a good quality, really. And learning to ask for things for yourself. I actually also don't think, and I think Dolly realized this as the story went on, it wasn't doing her son any good. Like,
Yeah.
she wanted him to be able to ask for things for himself. And as moms, you know that every terrible part about you is modeling for your children. Like, they're watching everything you do. And sometimes looking at your bad habits through that lens can help you turn it around. But the fun thing about writing this book, I like an enemies to lovers book, kind of. I like an opposites attract book. I think
Mhm.
that's fun. But I wanted to see if I could get two people who basically have the same issue. Like Stuart can't ask for help either
Yeah.
at all. If I could get them together, and then maybe they could figure this thing out and get something, figured out together.
And I love the humor of them like figuring things out together. Like Stuart just cracks me up of the fact that he can't give compliments.
Had no idea.
I loved every bit of that. He gets so much better. Like the hand holding, like all these little bits. I was just giggling to myself. I don't know how many times my family just kind of looked at me like while I was reading it. But how, how do you make it? I guess, is this just your humor? Is it kind of the iteration process? How do you make it so fun and enjoyable with the humor in there? I know it's a
I
hard
don't
question.
know how to answer that question. Here's the thing that I know that there are people who know how to create humor.
Mhm.
I am not one of those people. So if I write something and it strikes you as funny, that was an accident. Like it just happens while I'm writing. And sometimes it just doesn't happen.
Mhm.
And so, and then sometimes I think, we could use a light moment at this, like when I'm reading and I'm feeling like the pressure on my heart and I'm like, oh, this is kind of heavy. We could use a light moment. I could put myself in a light frame of mind and go back to the book
Mm.
and see if I can bring some lightness to it. And you can always bring lightness on purpose, but I don't know how to create humor on purpose. So it's just like it happens or it doesn't. It's like lightning.
Well, I loved it. So it is magic either way. And you mentioned Gus, you mentioned the kids. And so, well, Christopher's not a kid, but for her, it's another person that she takes care of. And I love so much about this. One, because I have children that are hitting that age, right? And I am always in that, oh, when is it going to be time when they don't want me to hug them like I do right now? Or when is it like not cool to act a certain way? It is a very real thing. And middle school is just a hard time for kids transitioning and figuring out their friend groups and all that stuff. How did you think about the character of Gus?
So I wanted Gus to be old enough. I didn't want him to be a little kid.
Mhm.
So I might have started him. Is he 14?
13, I think. Yeah.
13. I
13,
love that
13
you've
going on
read it more
14. Yeah.
recently than I have. So yeah, and I wanted him to be going into high school. So
Mhm.
I started with his age. And let me tell you, I've been through that age. And what happens during that age is it's like anthropology, it's like a social mix up where everybody's not developing the same. So half the kids go this way and half the kids go that way. And there's always kids that are like, I don't want to go either way. And they don't know how to talk about it. And it feels very intense. Um, so I just had him be that kid, but he has, because of these circumstances, been pulled out of his reality for the summer, and now he's in Whitfield. But he doesn't know anybody, and during the story, he makes a friend. And I don't know if you've ever had this happen before, but if you have a kid in a situation and that child makes a friend,
Mhm.
it's like winning the Powerball. Like her enthusiasm over him making a friend was not even enough for how big of a deal that is. And then I figured, she's a single mom, and always has been. Like that, he never had a father, so they've always lived just the two of them together. So I knew they would have like routines and the way they did things and things they busted on each other about, and they're super tight because it's just them.
Yeah. I think some of my favorite like highlights, I have a lot of highlights in there, but were some of the things he said because they're still kids, but they're also quite intuitive at this age, and you forget that they pick up on a lot more, which is kind of scary too. It makes you think about how you act and how you say things, right?
Terrifying.
Um, but like when he reminds her, like, you're worth it, like you are great, you are a great person, you deserve stuff like this. So, I'm like such a teary person, but
I love it.
for a kid to remind you of that, that like she kept saying, I'm the comfort in. And I'm like, no, no, um, that back and forth. And for him to still have this really close relationship, even though on the outside he's like, no, no, don't hug me. But they look out for each other. And I just love that dynamic. And I'm like, oh, I hope my kids and I have that forever too.
No, you will. You will lose access to their
Yeah.
bodies at some point, which is totally appropriate. I'm going to go on record saying that.
Yes.
But they will come back to you as their
Yeah.
point of, of connection. You're their touchstone.
And I'm
That's
so excited. I know people like fear the teenagers, but I'm excited, and books like this make me excited for it. And it's just like a different transition. You have adult children, right?
Yeah. The baby is 20, but the oldest one's 27.
20, I'm 20s, still adult, right? They're out in their, no, no.
Kidding me? No, 25 is an adult. My middle one's about to turn 25. And
Ah,
that's when, I mean, I don't know, but that's when I'm like, okay,
you're done.
this
You're
is, no,
ready
I'm
for the
not
next,
done, but
well,
I'm like,
like,
I know who you're going to be. I
yeah,
get it.
yeah. Ah, I'm like thinking back to my 20-year-old self. I'm like, when did I start working and when,
So
but
I was an idiot. I mean, just like, I can't even, just the, like, oh, sure, okay. I'll go, like, just the decisions I made, just
fair, fair.
everything, like, not a fully formed brain.
Yes, fair, fair. Okay, 25, you're a lot more comfortable. Although it depends on the kid, depends on the kid,
Yeah.
depends on all the situations. I also loved the parts with Christopher, especially towards the end, where she kind of realizes, why didn't I do or have him be more involved, right? I talk a lot with my community about like life skills for kids and allowing our kids to be empowered and to do more, and actually gives them like a ton of confidence to be able to be part of things and to do more for the family and learn these different things, right? So to see that part of Christopher where he is excited to be able to do more things, as well as Dolly seeing, oh my gosh, I should have done that. And it's a huge help for her too, right? To have this extra person that is able to step in for things. That tugged at my mom heart in so
Yeah.
many ways.
It's something I think about a lot, and I've
Yeah.
always thought about. Christopher is disabled in the story. He has the same condition that my brother had. He was perfectly fine, but he had a head injury, and
Mm,
it resulted in schizophrenia. They called it schizophrenia secondary to a head injury. That's what
mm,
they handed me when they were like, "This is what it is." So I always felt with him like, he had a head injury, so
yeah.
we're gonna take care of him.
Yeah.
He could have in his life done more and engaged more, and probably he was a super happy person, but I always thought we could have asked more of him, but he also was disabled. I think there's sometimes people in families who you treat that way anyways, like,
Yeah.
oh no, no, not Aunt Susie, she can't, she gets really, we can't. And you start not asking anything of those people, and those people lose the helping and functioning muscle because you never ask them to do anything. So it's all kind of tied up in this. I didn't really intend this to be this way, but it's tied up in this. Like, let's ask more of people
Yeah.
rather than just like sucking it up and getting more tired,
Yeah.
because it's good for them.
Yeah.
Oh
And
my
for
God,
the
I'm
sister.
Mel Robbins now. What am I
No.
talking about?
Oh, this is I go on these soapboxes too because
Yeah,
I think it's really good for our kids. I think in a similar way, obviously my kids are not disabled, but when they're really young, you're like, oh, they're, too young. They can't help or do all these things. But I have seen my kids step up. And again, this was another COVID thing where they had to get their lunches ready because we were both on meetings or we were, doing different things. And I saw how much they actually could do for themselves. They can set their own timers and figure out when school, like classes were, we just had to check in periodic to make sure they stopped playing. But they can do so much. And they were really excited to be able to do those
oh
things.
no, and then the next thing that they try that they think they can't do that's really hard, they have it in their back of their mind. They're like, I climbed up on the kitchen counter and made that sandwich. I could do that. Like, it
Yeah.
builds. And the way I think we raise our kids is like, I will expect nothing of you. Okay, now you're 21, get a job.
Yes.
Like, when we've expected nothing of them this whole time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now we don't understand why they don't know how to do their laundry or where to find food or whatever it is.
Oh, I have told myself I am not raising those children who go off to college and don't know how to do their laundry or cook anything. That no.
It's not a, they're not happy anyways. So it's,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
good call.
And then on that note, also with her sister, right? It was the same way where she in her head has labeled like she doesn't want to do it. She like we just put these things on other people and then we resent people for it. And
Yeah.
I have definitely had to ask for help. Like it does not come naturally to me and I don't want to burden people. I am like Dolly in that exact way. And I have had to learn to say, I love that tea scene where Dolly goes for the first time and she's like, whatever's easiest, right? And Stuart has to say, just tell her what you want. It's okay to tell her what you want.
Right. Like she was going to drink coffee. She doesn't even like coffee, just so she wouldn't say, "Oh no, I prefer tea." Like I, everybody needs to go out and get a Dyson hair thing. You
Yeah,
know what
that's
I mean?
right.
That's what I
That's
think that's
right.
the moral of the story.
That's right.
This
And
is
and
what you
he
want.
spoke up for her and then she was kind of embarrassed too, right? Like all these things, like there's little scenes in the whole book, Annabelle, the whole book. I was like, can I just annotate the whole?
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. But then they do like the sisters reconcile, which is a huge thing for me too, because this is in my like marriage too, where we've had to say mental load, right? Make sure we are making the invisible visible and asking for the help, allowing people to help because my husband would have helped had he picked up on all the things that needed to be done,
Yeah.
right? And we just think in a very different way. And so I think we just expect or assume things like, oh, so and so's busy, or oh, they have all these responsibilities. They're not going to want to do this thing, or they're not going to come, they don't want to come to this thing, or all these things that we put on people. Let's talk about it. And it's absolutely a woman. Well, I
Absolutely.
shouldn't stereotype
And you
completely.
never even asked.
Yeah.
There's also the control thing where you want it done a certain way. So you don't want the help. You're resentful that you're not getting the help.
Yeah.
Like I don't ask my husband to make dinner. I never have because I don't want to eat what he would cook.
Yeah.
That's just what it is. I want to eat what I'm going to cook because I am a better cook.
Yeah.
So now he is retired and I am working and he goes to Costco and he goes to the grocery store and whatever. And that's the big help. But I want to make dinner.
Yeah.
I don't want to eat his, we'd eat Cheetos or something. I don't want to eat it. So I,
Know your partner, know the things, but that's also something to talk about, right? And I'm sure there had to be a conversation to say, look, I will cook, but these are the things that if we could share, if you could do this, it would be really helpful or whatever it might be. And a lot of us
he's
are
actually
scared to
been,
have that conversation.
since I've started writing in earnest, he has been retired.
Mm-hmm.
And I had children at home during that time. And he just like stepped right in. It was almost seamless. It was
I
great.
love that. I love
Yeah,
that.
I loved it too.
Yeah. So, Naomi, we kind of talked about like people, side characters, writing who needs to be there. I loved her. I think every woman needs that girlfriend, right? We might have the best marriages, but we still need our girl time. I am a like huge advocate for that. Is Naomi inspired by anyone or what was your thought process
No,
for Naomi?
she wasn't inspired by anyone. Um, but I always, my editor always says, because in a first draft, there just aren't a lot of people. She's like, she needs a friend. And everyone needs a friend. But in fiction, I find, especially when you're writing in first person and we're in Dolly's head, we need her to be able to be honest with someone else. And we need somebody who's going to call her out or not call her out so we can get a rounder sense of who she is. Because the perspective of being inside a character's head and just having her interact with her potential love interest is not a round person. And people don't talk about their flaws and their history. And so it's just nice. It's like writing wise, it's nice to have a friend. Dolly or Naomi is like kind of off the wall, and will just like come out and say anything. And I was really tickled by who she turned out to be. It was so much fun.
Oh, okay. I loved the scene also where Dolly is finally speaking up for herself, right? And Naomi's going in with her, and she reminds her to also be courteous and say thank you in
Yeah.
her little pretty woman moment right there. I just love that, and I'm like, oh, if I had a moment like that, I would also probably be like, and thank you for that thing, thank you.
Yeah. Yes, I thought that was sort of a spontaneous thing that came up in my head, but I
Yeah,
think it's probably true. I think she would have been, if she hadn't thanked him, it wouldn't have been over. We wanted closure. We wanted to get out of there with a
yeah,
full period stuck on it.
yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it. Is there a favorite scene that you had in writing this book or anything like that?
The first one that popped in my mind was that scene,
Mm,
where she confronts Stuart. I liked seeing her just get again like I liked the strength of that. I really like the scene where she's in the hospital and her dad comes.
mm,
um, it was so funny because honestly I write a book like 100 times, and I read it 1,000 times, and I sobbed through that chapter. I'm like, oh God, I got to read this book one more time, and then I get to that, and I am just so yes. There was something there for me that I really connected with.
yeah. Oh, I did too. When he says thank you for calling, I'm like, oh my gosh.
That is such a gift to
Yeah,
ask someone for help when you need it.
yeah,
That thank you for calling.
yeah, yeah. Oh, okay. I could go on forever. We're not going to go on forever, but Victoria too. I have to talk about Victoria. Well, okay, I'm going to talk about Stuart first because I absolutely resonated with the expectations, and not that my parents put like huge expectations on me or anything, but as a child of immigrants and as Asian kid, you kind of have these like, oh, these are some of the jobs that are the good jobs, or you are a success if you do these things, and you kind of have this the weight of, okay, your parents moved here so that you can have a good life and all these things, right?
Yep.
So the steward carrying all the things and doing this thing that he doesn't even want to necessarily do, but feels like he would be letting people down, um, and just kind of kills himself doing it, right?
Yep.
I was just, I've never felt it to that degree, but I've seen so many burnt out people. Like my whole career was pretty much in Silicon Valley. I've seen it all, you know. Um, so
Yeah, that came, Stewart actually was the inspiration for this whole story. Um,
mm,
I went to Newport to visit. I thought I might want to set a book there, and so my husband and I went, and we walked on the cliffs, and we went to all the mansion tours, and we did all this stuff. Um, and all of the mansion tours begin with, this great wealth was created by this family in 18 whatever. They brought the marble from France for this bathroom, whatever. And then it all went to hell in this particular generation, and
mm,
that's the end of the story. And each time I was like, I wonder who it was in that generation who's
mm.
still walking around like living in a condo in Fort Lauderdale being like, it was me, like I was the person in the generation who let it all go to hell. And that was really like the pressure of that feels it's very specific, but it's also the dolly pressure, the being the person in your family who is responsible for keeping all the plates spinning. um, so first came Dolly, and then came Stuart.
I love them all. Okay, I can even relate to Grant, even though, you know, I've seen the cutthroatness, I've seen the competition, I've seen all the things, and yeah, yeah. Not my favorite, but I can also relate. I can see, I know people.
Yeah, right, right. No, it's nice to have kind of a douchey villain. Just
Yeah, yeah. And Victoria, there are some like comments that she makes and how I love their relationship by the end. And the fact that she's like, yeah, your children, you never stop worrying about your children, no matter how old they are, and you want them to do well. Like something's not going well with one of them, and you're just kind of turned upside down. And that, in a nutshell, is motherhood, is parenthood. And it's just different as you go through the different ages and stages. But I loved seeing all the different parental and people dynamics throughout this whole book. So
she was really important to me, and she was probably in 40 more pages that got
mm,
cut. Like she and Dolly really spent a lot of time together um, later in the book, but it didn't really make sense for the story, and it was boring. But I really enjoyed being there with her, and I really enjoyed Dolly having a mom. You know, having like it was Stuart's mom, but it was like a mom, like somebody for her to be like turn to
yeah,
for not help, but at least advice,
yeah,
talk things through.
I love so much about it. This is my last thing I'm going to say on Dolly. I went to go put it on hold because reading it twice on an ebook is not enough, and I love audiobooks, so I went to Libby to put a hold on it for when it comes out. And it's narrated by the amazing Julia Whalen.
Can you believe it?
I love her, and I also got to interview her not too long ago, and so I was so excited when I saw that. I'm like, two of my favorite people in one book.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
I can't, I am so excited. It is like a thrill. So the audiobook is going to be great.
I don't know how many times I'm gonna read this book by the end of the year, Annabelle. I don't know.
Okay. I think two's enough. Come on.
Different pieces, different parts. And then I have to do the audiobook. So yeah.
Yeah. I know it's a different experience.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same thing, but the listening is a different kind of experience. I might even
Yeah.
listen to this one. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Okay. We're gonna dive into quick fire questions because I
Okay.
can't keep you
Hang on.
here forever.
Let me get my head on. Okay.
Okay. What are you reading right now? And it could be different modes. It could be like an audiobook, ebook, physical book, all the above.
I am reading a hardcover of American Fantasy by Emma Straub because I am interviewing her on Monday, and so I must prepare. But it is, do you know about this book?
I've seen the cover. I
Okay,
have not.
so
Yeah.
just in two sentences, it is a bunch of middle aged women who, in their youth, were obsessed with this boy band and are now on a cruise with the boy band. It's a boy band cruise. And they are all reliving their youth while the boy band is now middle aged and they're middle aged and they're all like living it up. And
Okay. I love
it's
this.
very much about embracing the joy of your youth in your middle age. It's great.
Oh my gosh, I love this because I just saw a lot of friends going to see Backstreet Boys and like, totally getting myself it.
It's a whole book about exactly that.
Excellent. Oh my gosh. Okay, it's on my TBR.
Yeah.
You see a lot of like different ways people are expressing love in your book. What is your love language, either to receive or to give or both?
I like to receive words of affirmation. And I like to give, what are they again? Service?
Service, touch, um, words, gifts, quality time.
Yeah, I think words. I think I'm a word, but words both ways.
Oh, I
Think
love.
about that, though.
And then you're also right. You're gifting us with words too. So
It's my love language.
food is also like a huge love. I guess that's kind of gifts, but I'm like food is a sixth love language. I'm putting it in there.
Okay, well then that's mine.
Oh, okay, awesome.
I like to cook. I sometimes like to bake, but that is my kids are home and I must bring them a hot plate of eggs.
Love it.
Here are your eggs. I love you.
I love it. Food is absolutely my love language, also, and quality time. But What is a bucket list item that you would like to do this year, if possible?
This year, um, well,
Maybe there's a
I
smaller
actually
bucket
am
list item.
doing a bucket list item this year. I am going on book tour in the UK. This is the first time. It's my first international book. I went to one event in Canada. I don't think it counts. But they're like bringing me over, and I'm going to go to all the bookstores and do events there with all these British authors that I absolutely adore. That is a total bucket list item for me. I cannot wait.
I love that. So exciting. When is that?
July 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, or something.
Coming up. Sort of coming up. All right. Last one. What is one thing you love doing just for you?
Uh, I think, well, reading, but that's such a boring answer. But like, I'm not doing anybody any good when I'm reading, especially if I'm reading books that are totally outside my genre. Like, I really like to read thrillers, and that is not improving my craft. It is not supporting my colleagues. It is not doing anything but just satisfying the part of me that loves dead bodies and finding out what happened. Like, I love it. And I am not. I just listened to Lisa Jewell's The Night She Disappeared.
Uh-huh.
I mean, 10 out of 10, perfection.
Oh, I love it.
I love it.
Yeah. And you deserve that time to do something just for you, right?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's absolutely relaxing.
Yeah. Where can people connect with you further? Because I know everybody's like, I love Annabelle. Where can I learn more about her?
So that's so nice. I am most of the time I'm on Instagram. So like I'm on Instagram all the time, and I'm at Annabel Monaghan. I'm also on Facebook, but not as often. And show up on Threads every once in a while. And my website is annabelmonaghan.com. And all my tour of information is available on the website. That's the cleanest place to go because all those links work. I've triple checked.
Perfect. And we'll have all the links too, so everybody can connect with you there. Anything else you want to leave with our audience before we sign off?
No, it's just, I just want to say to you, I found you because you're a reader and you reached out to me. And I'm just so grateful for that. Like, I'm so grateful for the time that you've taken to do this and the open hearted way that you read my book. I just am like so touched. So thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, it was an absolute pleasure, and I'm so glad we got to do this. Thank you. And everybody go check out the book. If I haven't raved about it enough, it's amazing. Thank you, Annabelle.
Thank you.